What the hell's happening in the world? Today's November 8th. My name is Reagan, and here are your past week's headlines. I forgot to mention that last week a man was repeatedly gored to death by a bull in Spain's bull race. Seems like quite a way to go. Also, a ways to go is air rage, which is on the rise, and apparently over 5,000 reports of unruly passengers this year.
A source close to the investigation says a flight attendant accidentally bumped into a passenger and apologized. Soon after, the man walked to the back of the plane and punched the flight attendant twice in the face. Australia's
international borders reopened on Monday, as well as Mexico and Canada, ending nearly 20 months of tough restrictions. Jen Psaki got COVID-19, as well as U.S. Homeland Security Secretary. There was a building collapse in Nigeria. And the world's oldest cave painting was found in Sulawesi of a wild pig-like thing that was believed to be around 45,000 years old. U.S. wildlife researchers have discovered that 2 California condors, a critically endangered bird, gave birth without any male genetic DNA. The discovery that condors are capable of virgin births, formerly called parthenogenesis or asexual reproduction, surprised scientists. Only about 500 of these birds remain in the U.S. Southwest and Mexico. Day of the Dead kicked off on Tuesday with a vengeance. VIPs, including Jeff Bezos, flew to the climate change conference COP26, and 400 other private jets flew there, sparking fury over the carbon emissions cause. Also, there were extravagant dinners that were not carbon friendly. Sounds a lot like the Hunger Games, guys. The parallels are too strong. They're too real. But let's get on a brighter note. China's growing military muscle and its drive to end American predominance in the Asia Pacific is rattling the U.S. defense establishment. American officials see trouble quickly accumulating on multiple fronts. Beijing expanded its nuclear arsenal and is advancing in space, cyber, and missile technologies, which are a threat to Taiwan. We knew this, but the pace at which China is moving is really stunning, says General John Hyten, the number 2 ranking U.S. military officer who previously commanded U.S. nuclear forces and oversaw Air Force space operations. Hans Christensen, a nuclear weapons expert at the Federation of American Scientists, says China appears to have about 250 ICBM silos under construction, which he says is more than 10 times the number in operation today. The U.S. military, by comparison, has 400 active ICBM silos and 50 in reserve. For now, however, Russia remains the larger strategic threat to the United States because its nuclear arsenal outnumbers China's, but Miley and others say that Beijing is a bigger long-term worry because its economic strength exceeds that of Russia. At the current pace of military investments and achievements, Beijing will pass Russia and the United States in overall military power in the coming years if we don't do something to change it. Okay, moving on. Overall, COVID cases are trending down, but still Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and Colorado, among a few other places, are up. ISIS is going a little bit over the top in Kabul with attacks on hospitals and other important places. Tesla had an emergency brake problem and recalled 12,000 cars. Who cares? China's government has urged families to stock up on essential supplies in case of emergencies. No reason was given for the notice from the Ministry of Commerce, but it came down to ongoing coronavirus lockdowns and concern over vegetable supplies after an unusually heavy rain damaged crops. But net zero by 2050, right? Okay. Also in China, Yahoo left. Our favorite search engine since we were children. More oil leases on land in America were established. A new blood test may detect more than 50 types of cancer. That's good news. Gun dealers are selling weapon parts and ammo using an anti-president meme. You guessed it. Let's go, Brandon. Inflation is at its highest levels in 30 years, so empty your wallet. And Greta says COP26 is a failure, and I'm with you. Here she is giving old Trumpo the stink eye.
Welcome to the UN, sir. Are you ready? Thank you very much.
United Nations says global food prices hit a fresh 10-year high, and over 106 million people were under frost and freeze alerts nationwide. It was the first of the season. One snowplow company, for instance, is giving up to $155 an hour to plow snow because of the lack of drivers. Get real, none of these Gen Z kids can do that shit unless it's with their fingers. Their fingers. Congress passed $1 trillion for roads and bridges and broadband, which many would argue is counterintuitive considering, like AOC, considering we're building all that stuff, but we're not doing any sort of carbon sequestering or capturing to offset all of the developments that we're doing. But let's go into detail. The bill contains $150 billion for clean energy advancement and adaptation to effects of climate change, surpassing the 2009 economic stimulus package, which spent $90 billion on clean energy development and deployment. The new package also includes $73 billion for modernizing the U.S. electricity grid, among other things, and will help transmit wind and solar power to places where it is generated to large population centers. See how well that goes. Also $15 billion for electric vehicles, whatever that means. Are they just going to give people money to go buy cars, or is this for the federal fleet? I don't know. I didn't really specify. And of course, everybody knows about the mass casualty event at the Travis Scott concert in Houston. 8 people died, 50,000 people charged the stage. Some are in cardiac arrest, even a 10-year-old. But in other large crowds, there was massive protests in Glasgow. Something like tens of thousands of people showed up, and across multiple cities on the globe on the 7th day of the now failed COP. There was also Nicaraguan elections on Sunday. Everybody feels like it was rigged. And again, today the borders open with Canada and Mexico, so viva la Mexico. Go get your tequila on. This is what's happening in the world. My name is Reagan. All right? I'll talk to you soon. Have a great week. Peace.